All right, Carmel. We're
Yo,
we're live on Mancave Classified, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV, YouTube Live right now, HISadvocates.tv, and soon to be more. I'm going to tell you, I didn't tell you today. I'm in negotiations on some cable brands and some other networks. I'm pretty excited about it.
word.
Um, But today's, I think par for the course with what everybody is wanting to hear about the Trump indictment. And
hmm
I've done minimal research on it, probably spent about a half an hour on it. And every single thing that I am hearing is that our judicial system is completely broken and politicalized. And this indictment is a total piece of trash. And it's
Yep.
like, um, I do want to say, did you notice that, in the past, when they do major things like the FBI or the CIA or these organizations do major things, they have all these flags in the background. They have all this authority. They have the big blue banner. It says FBI real big. And you got
hmm
25 people all dressed in suits, all serious, nobody's smiling, and then they all get a chance to talk. This was a lone dude, a lone district attorney, and no support, no backdrop, no help, no crimes listed out. And that's one of the things that I don't understand, because I do get criminal law a little bit,
hmm
not that I commit crimes. But in order for you to commit not guilty to something, you got to know what the crime is, right?
I mean, that's typically how it works in most courts, but I didn't hear anything like that in this one. I mean, most of it was very, what's the word? Not neutral, but just kind of like out there. 34 counts, felonies. I don't know, but 34 counts of what? And then they're saying they're connecting this to another crime, but didn't mention what the crime was. Like, I think I heard that all over the news yesterday. Kept hearing connected to this crime. That's going to make it a felony. I mean, what was the crime? What are we connecting it to make it a felony? Because up until now, it's just 34 counts of what?
So, so I learned something today. I learned that hush money in New York is 100% legal. Like, what's the crime? So, through his attorney, he paid some hush money to shut this porn star up, to not disclose maybe a sexual encounter with her while he was married. And it's not illegal. What is the issue?
I,
34 felonies
I feel like I've heard this 1,000 times where
today.
people, oh no, not today, but about hush money, but they
Oh,
say the terms settled out of court or undisclosed amounts or
right. A private
kind of
contract.
private contract in private legal hearings. I mean, that's doesn't seem too weird. But now when you say hush money, porn star, it makes it way more salacious. I feel like every corporation has done something like this where, maybe a person fell at a McDonald's and they had an undisclosed amount. They took it. That's hush money. Hey, don't bring it out. Don't make it a complaint publicly. We'll handle this out of court. That's pretty common.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now,
So, yesterday or the day before, no, it was Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday I did a show, Carmel, on HISadvocates.tv on Russia and China, China and Brazil, China and Saudi Arabia,
the bricks.
China and more and more and more. Everybody across this world is dumping the dollar. And everybody's glued to the TV, and there's nothing on the TV about it, very little, as if it's insignificant. And we're set for hyperinflation now. We're set for more banks collapsing. We're set for food shortages because they've been burning processing plants. And to me, this whole Trump thing looks like smoke and mirrors. And here I want to get to I want to go and explore something with you, honestly, Carmel, because I don't get to have dialogue with smart guys like you very often.
Appreciate that. Not that you don't get to have the dialogue, but
Well, that I consider you smart. That's privilege. I mean, it's personal opinion, probably not shared with everybody, but So my thought is, and let's be very serious, because there's a lot of Trumpers that look at him like the savior.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Trumpers that think he is the one, and he is going to be in control of the free world, and he's going to save our nation. And I don't believe that. I think he's a part of the problem. And I think that there's a lot of acting going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, after what I've listened to today, he's probably going to get convicted, and it's going to get overturned at appeals. He'll never do a day in jail. But it's not going to be very hard to convict a guy with a jury that's the same jury that hates him. All of New York, for the most part nowadays, hates him, even though they used to love him. But here we are. We're in a time and day where everybody's taking their eyes off of really what's going on in the backdrop of the world, and they're putting their eyes on this. And this is really insignificant. His life right now, to me, I get it, but it seems like he's a part of a theatrical stage play.
That's exactly what I feel. And I sat and watched this with my mom, who was just glued to the TV from start to finish, as every single announcer and news anchor just kept saying the same thing, the same rhetoric over and over and over again. And I'm like, what are they hiding? Because to me, when it seems like there's a story that it's same with the January 6th insurrection, it's like really a non-story. But if you paint it large enough, people will just eat it up. So I remember just before this, the BRIC, Brazil, Russia, Saudi, China dropping the dollar. I think Russia's now moved to the yuan. I'm like, this is huge. This is huge. And sure enough,
it's the biggest news in history for
biggest
the
news.
last 100 years. People don't understand that. The last 50 years for Saudi Arabia.
People they're not hearing it, because what they're hearing is, oh, Trump's going to be in New York tomorrow. Trump's in court today. What's he going to say? What's 34 and like of nothing, 34 counts of nothing. You're not heard
nothing. And again, apart and here you have a DA, and let's, if we could get some backdrop to this, I'd love to be able to spend some time and do a little bit of research to be able to show the screen, to show this DA alone on a stage. Listen to me, guys. Listen, everybody that's watching the show. A DA alone on a stage, the first time ever, going after a retired president of the United States of America. And he's alone. And the charges don't have any basis, and there is no crime attached to it, and there's nobody supporting him.
Nope.
Meaning it's all theatrics.
Exactly.
And nobody wants to get behind it because they know he's going to be a fall guy. They got something on him. They said, you better come up with something, bro. We're going to pull out that little porn charge that you had, and or that little child pedophilia thing that you got going on. Remember the pictures we took of you last August? You remember. You need to make up an indictment here. You got 48 hours. And he's like, fighting it. That's what the delay was, and then boom. And he stands up, and he is a criminal, and these criminal charges that have no crimes in the listing within the indictment. It's a joke.
It's hilarious.
It's a joke.
I think I remember hearing one of the persons in the audience ask if they could delineate what the crimes were, and he says they can't. We can't do that. Isn't this literally why we're here? It's to
you want to hear something funny? I invited my friend over here, Carmel. And I told him to be quiet, and he crashes on my couch and he starts to snore. And I'm live right now, and I got my buddy on a couch over here snoring.
Hey, it's a man cave, bro.
Dude, it is a man cave. I get it, but come on, dude. Come on, man. We're doing a live presentation. Get on your phone. Do something.
Put the camera on. That's what
do something, Come on. I'm putting you to sleep. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, he says I'm putting him to sleep now. This is, bro. Okay. Does Joe Rogan have to put up with this with his friends? Come on.
Does he have friends?
Yeah, well, no. Hey, I told you I met Joe on the streets in Aspen first time I went to Aspen, I got to say something. Look, he wasn't with his wife. So I'm just saying, and hold on. All kinds of pictures together, snapping and snuggling, and yeah, you got outed, Joe. You got outed. That's what happens when you don't see. And that's hold on. I feel like I'm not being a fellow brother in a man cave, keeping the secrets of another brother. You know,
it's kind of bro codish. He's a little bit of,
but he's open. He's in the public. What are you doing in the public with some girl in Aspen on Christmas? You know,
is he married? I didn't know he was married.
Cousins, maybe just friends.
Maybe it's an open marriage. Maybe he's a polygamist.
Polygamist? Who wants 2 wives, man? I don't want 2 wives. No, thank you. Heck no.
Well,
we need.
That's a whole nother story, but
we need to touch on that story.
A lot of men in the Bible had several wives, namely David.
Hey, I think the Bible 100% supports multiple wives for men. Even in the New Testament, there's a place where it says to be an elder of the church, you have to be a husband of 1 wife, meaning to be in the church in general, or a believer going to church, you can have multiple wives. And that was a society thing. And there's nothing in the word that can say any different. Now, look, all the ladies that are listening, the one of you,
the one.
I don't want more than 1 woman in my life. I just don't. It's just too much.
So you're letting them know this so they don't start coming at you.
Just letting them know I'm not on the market. I'm not looking for another wife. I'm not looking for a concubine. Just putting that out.
Oh, okay.
You know. Yeah, I just lost to 1 person.
All right, now we can talk.
Now we can talk. Let's go.
Yeah, so back to Trump. I think that, and I say this a lot on this show, the media is all about distractions. It's all about setting agendas, propaganda, getting people riled up about something versus paying attention to what's really going on. The other day, there was a clip on YouTube, Instagram. I'm not sure where I saw it, but a guy mentioned like our next stimulus checks coming via instant pay. The new CBDC payment system that the Federal Reserve has, which allows instant payments now. So it's a digital banking system that now allows them to pay out, stimulus checks, tax returns, whatever, instantly. So I remember talking to my mom, who was very adamant about, I'm never doing crypto. I'm never getting into this stuff, yada, yada, yada.
She's going to be forced to, bro.
I asked her straight out. I said, she's been looking for a stimulus check because she couldn't find it. It went to an old address, whatever. I said, if you went to the IRS right now and they said, we have your stimulus check, it's in the system, we can send it to you directly if you download this app and take it instantly through this CBDC app. So would you do it? She said, well, yeah, instantly, right away.
They're just going to call it the Fed coin.
So there you go. She said without hesitation, she would do it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Done. Set match. Like it's really not that hard because people, when you're struggling or you want it or you need it or you don't know where it's at, and I can show, here it is. It's over here. Oh, okay. Easy.
Yeah.
Now, no one's talking about that.
And that's the smoke and mirrors, Carmel, because it's all hitting at once. We're talking about in this nation and pretty much every nation around the world, when we collapse, the whole world collapses, and the whole world is, and there's some stuff behind it that is kind of esoteric, that is, in my opinion, dark, demonic, and that it is because they're going for world control, world dominance. They're trying to bring in what I would say is the mark of the beast. There's filed patents that are related to the chip. I think I shared that with you before. I shared it on HISadvocates TV yesterday. That Microsoft just filed the chip patent number is 060606. The patent technology is all about working with other nanoparticulates within the body. And this is no joke. This is what this is saying in the patent, that it's going to send the task, and you're going to do the task, and it's going to report back to the main chip. And if you do your job, it'll give you some digital currency. Revelations 13.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so the system is called FedNow. That is the
Yeah.
Federal Reserve's new CBDC, central banking digital currency. Came into, or it's set for launching July of this year.
Well, and that's a whole nother thing. Deutsche Bank, one of the biggest banks in the world, they came out with a not just an article, but basically a rollout of what's happening worldwide with all the countries, all the banks regarding digital currency. And they basically said, as of November of 2022, everything is now digital, and every country is going to have an opportunity to roll into digital currency over the next 3 years. And my understanding was the United States would be last. So they're going to start implementing it in July, and they're going to finish implementing it in 2026. Now, here's the weird stuff, Carmel, and this is, you talk about Trump and what's going on with the indictment, and the backstory is they're moving hard and fast to collect on the collateral. And what people don't realize is they are the collateral. And so when you tie this whole thing up and you look at how every country in the world, and just to give you an example, let me look this up for people right now. And I'm going to share a screen in a minute and show some people, but this is critical to understand. Like in the United States, we have a birth certificate, and people became the collateral in 1930, 33-ish, and became employees in 35 with the Social Security Administration. You got an employee ID number. But hold on, I'm just going to type in, people can do this themselves. Australia, Republic, Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. And I'm going to go to the SEC website and hopefully find it real quick. Of course, I got to type out fully SEC security. Give me just 1 second, Carmel. If you want to talk or say something wonderful, that'd be great.
Sure. I think a lot of the connective tissue, I should say, between COVID in the past 2-3 years, some, what better word we want to call it, because we don't want to get banned here, dosages taken by certain people, and the DNA changing. You mentioned being collateral. I think really quickly, all those are going to be tied together, and I think people will probably get it. For a lot of people, I'm not sure what they could do. But if now they become not only collateral through their birth certificate, but through their DNA changing, being now, patented products of, 3 different companies that created these dosages that remain nameless.
So my point for saying, and it's not going to come up easily or quickly, and I didn't plan for this, but the countries around the world are all registered under the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the people with their birth certificates and or naturalization certificates and or resident alien certificates are all printed on 32-pound watermark banknote paper. That's a big why. Why did you take my live born record and put it on a bonded securitized note paper, put a QSIP number on it, and register it in the county and registered at the SEC because it's traded. And you can go to a GMEI utility. That is the DTCC, which is the holder of all securities for the United States of America. And you can actually type in your social security number, and you can see all of the companies that are registered and investing into your bond. Your birth certificate and your social security number are tied in as one. The QSIP number allows them to trade it on Wall Street. They're monetizing the debt of this nation. You are the collateral of this nation. Now, here's the point. People say that's conspiracy. I'm going to tell you right now, I can absolutely prove anybody that says that's conspiracy, I can absolutely prove them wrong with their own government websites. 100% validated, verified. You have no idea what's going on with you and your family and birth certificates and how you're aligning and alleging yourself to them. And you didn't even understand the principle of what is on a live born record. For the most part, we all didn't. We all failed for a lack of knowledge. But the point is we all became collateral and employees to the United States through adhesion trust, through whatever. And that's the smoke and mirrors, because they're changing the monetary system now. It's going away from dollars and they're going into a new monetary system. And it could be the cancellation of all debt. And this is why you have Nasara Jasara. And I don't know if you know about that, Carmel, where people are talking about getting these instant packages of all these billions and millions of dollars, and they got to use them for humanitarian efforts or just be greedy, whatever. I don't believe in that staged stuff personally. I think it's smoke and mirrors to keep you from working, keep you from going out and getting a job, keep you from thinking that it's going to be gravy train and I'm just going to hold out for another month because that guy on that program, on that, whatever, keeps saying it's happening next week. It's happening next week. It's happening next week. And you're not doing anything productive in your life.
Yeah.
But that's the government's or the higher structure or AI or in what they're doing to keep our eyes off of doing anything to combat the changing of the guard. We're moving from one monetary system, regionalized, to a global functioning monetary system that if you are their property and they want to chip you, they can. And that's a Supreme Court ruling in this nation that's already been dealt with and verified, that if the DNA gets changed by one marker, what do you think mRNA is with vaccines? Then you are now patentable and you become property just by taking the vaccine pill, which is a new thing from Pfizer. It's not a shot anymore. You can now become their product, their trademarked product. And it's kind of creepy. And we're at this stage right now where you're doing a changing of the guard from, again, localized this nation to a global thing. And digital currency is going to be the only thing for everybody in the future. And they will be able to track every single thing that you do. And the interesting thing is, Carmel, it's they're using the terms within the Bible, like 666, like the mark of the beast. As a matter of fact, Yuval Harari, the prophet, the guru, if y'all want to look him up, he's considered like the wise man for guys like Bill Gates, guys like Klaus Schwab, head of the World Economic Forum. This is the guy that touts that you will have a supplanted chip. You will be playing games all day long in your house because they don't know what to do with you, because technology is going to be taking over. These are his words, not my words. And that AI and robots are going to make you basically useless, and that they're going to have to figure out what to do with you. And so he doesn't believe in a God. He believes that one day we will all be gods, which is kind of biblical, but kind of taken out of, context.
But it's always like this. It's always like this, where you take, bits and pieces of truth and mix it in with whatever message you want to give, and people will digest it. I mean, I thought as a kid, I've always thought it was interesting that the words prophet and prophet were, pronounced exactly the same. A lot of people profit off of being a prophet. So many churches I've been in, they profit off of being a prophet. So you can spell it any way you want, and Yuval Harari probably fits the description. Is he prophetic of what's going to happen? Probably, because he's helping bringing it to pass. So I think what people need to really do is take a huge step back outside of everything, whether it's media, social media, their own inner circle, religious, whatever, and like try to gain some understanding about what's literally happening to you. Because one thing that bothers me is I'm not gonna bring my mom up again because I've heard this from other people when they say Russia's our enemy or China's our enemy or this country's our enemy. I mean, we've been hearing this for decades. It's Japan, it's Iraq, Iran. I have never had any of those people attack me.
True.
Now, if you want to say our diplomats, ambassadors, political, figures are in debates or having, heated conferences and talks, fine. We're going by off what we see on TV. Do we really think we're at war with China? Do we really think that Russia's our enemy? The whole thing about Russia somehow or another manipulating our election process. Do people understand how stupid that sounds? That a whole nother country is able to fix our election and we're not going to know? We're not going to be able to do anything about it? These people at Langley, our Pentagon,
You're
CIA,
talking about the fact that China was able to rig our election, or that Russia
really,
was able to rig our
really,
election.
it's really rigged. A
Yeah.
whole nother country can affect the USA's election process? Or
Yeah,
did it just happen the way they intended to? And we're going to say it
right.
was rigged. Because
Well, and
it's
that's where
stupid
you and
to
I
think that
become
we don't know what's
conspiracy
going on.
theorists, Carmel. Is we're I told this story last night. I hobnobbed with some pretty high tech guys back in the 90s.
Okay.
And one of my friends was vice president of Diebold, and his machines were all over Brazil and South America. And he said, dude, these machines can be manipulated 26 different ways. They have holes all the way through them, and there's no way that you can control an outcome to be absolutely 100% secure with our machine. And I'm like, really? He said, all elections are rigged right now, not in the United States, but in foreign countries. And he told me they're testing it out in foreign countries. And he said, it'll be here soon. And so when did it get here? It got here regionally, I believe in 08. And it really came forward. But that's a whole nother thing. How did Trump win if they didn't want him to win? You know what I mean?
Do we, again, people need to realize their vote doesn't determine who's the president. Us
And
voting,
I agree with that statement.
voting is merely ceremonial. It's just a fun thing for us to sit and talk about. I voted for this guy and I voted for that guy. And we get to see who we voted for on TV and a big excitement. We get to look how the country's thinking about this guy, that guy. It means nothing. The person who's supposed to be in that seat is determined by a small group of people, namely not us. And it's also the Electoral College's decision, which is something I learned in 10th grade. But I'm pretty sure it's not even them, but we'll go with that because that's what we were taught. But do people really think that they're going to go to some ballot, put in, I want this guy, and you're going to get that guy?
What is so funny to me is the pin. I voted. I'm proud. You know,
It's great. I love it.
I just that's a great sticker. Thank you for taking the time to vote. Thank you for taking and to me it's like a total joke. And
What's funny about that is I've seen people who wear those stickers who are huge about not putting stickers on apples, yet they wear I voted sticker.
Not putting stickers on like what?
Yeah, fruit. There's these people who are huge about not putting stickers on fruit because it's some kind of hurting our planet, but they rock these
because of the glue.
Whatever. It's another stupid thing that people are getting behind.
I never heard of that, but I might get on that bandwagon.
As long as you don't wear the
sounds like an important thing, Carmel. We got to defend the fruit.
It's very important.
It's very important. Hey guys, let's go smoke cigars.
I'm down.
I'm down, man. Honestly, I'm fed up with just this whole narrative of what's going on with, Trump, and it just seems like we're getting darker and darker. Would you agree with that? That things are getting darker and darker around our nation.
The opposite.
Wow. Okay, I'm listening.
See, we often believe that darker means negative.
Okay, so you're saying it's getting lighter and lighter, which means
More is
darker.
being revealed. It's being revealed.
More is
The
being
plan is being
revealed.
revealed. Revelation means to reveal.
That's very intellectual. That's very intellectual.
That's what I do.
It's one of those things like I need to keep my dictionary close when I'm hanging out with you.
You got to. You got to. Because this is the thing. It's all about how we're conditioned mentally.
Dang, man, that's deep.
Darkness is not evil.
Dude, listen, Black Jesus is over here. You know, he's our new Black Jesus.
That's redundant.
He just doesn't have the dreadlocks.
We already know he was black.
And he's not really black. He's pretend black. He's Jamaican. I think his dad was with a white woman. His daddy was with a white woman.
Hey, you put a drop of chocolate in milk, it's chocolate milk.
That's right. That's right.
Just need a drop.
Right.
I'm more black than anyone in this country.
He's more black than anyone in this country, he says. All right.
I like it.
Actually, excuse me. I'm more black than anyone in this country.
According to Black's law, he might be.
What's your definition of black is, I guess, the question.
Exactly. Which dictionary are we using?
Right.
So back to what you're saying about darkness. So what I'm saying is more things are coming to the light. More things are being revealed.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
Satan is also the morning star, right?
So look, if we're going biblical, you're bringing up a name you don't believe in. So why are you saying it?
I don't believe in it. I believe what it actually means.
Okay.
Lucifer means illuminated one, right?
Right.
Luce is light. So it's actually
one of the names that they've given to Lucifer.
Who's they?
Don't go there. That's very racist of you.
I'm a specialist in race. You're right. I am.
Yeah.
So I think we're waking up.
People refer to me as they, them today.
If you want to be they, them, that's okay.
No.
I'm avoiding all that. Here's another, it's a whole other subject about pronouns and nouns.
Shut up.
And he's gonna have to get on air in a minute if he's trying.
He's going to. He's probably don't. Just shut up.
Hey, did you send me a video, or maybe I need to find it, of it was like a cartoon about the birth certificate and children and all that?
A long time ago.
No, I think it was recently. I just watched it. When you mentioned it right now, I wanted to show it.
You know, there's a lot of good commentary on how it was done. I've created a couple things on the birth certificate and how it was done. The thing is showing people where it's traded, how you're the surety and the collateral by your own accord, because your representation of your life in a commercial term is your live born record, your birth born record. And there's a lot of attorneys right now that are going to say, Kelby, you're reaching on this, and I'm not. And I would love to show people where in Uniform Commercial Code 9 under the words registered organization, that is the birth certificate. I'd love to show you where you can find where you're traded, how you're traded, who's invested in you. It's not, or in your live born record. But what I'm about to say is the stuff that in Black's law, you know, when you look at a California and other birth certificates and live born records at the time, they don't have the father sign. And I want to ask you why. You know, number one, it says mother and father at the top, and on the signature area it says parent. Now I want people to understand something, because this is their world, Black's law. This is their dictionary. This dictionary defines Supreme Court rulings and so forth. So when you look up the word parent, I got it in the back of my head. In this book, it means judicially decreed guardian. Okay. So why are you the mother on the top, but you're the parent down below? It's because it's a contract that you're agreeing to being the judicially decreed guardian on that line. But it also says two other things. It says signature which is one that can attest to the validity of the instrument. It says parent and informant. And informant means one who turns one over. So in one simple box, they've created an instrument where the mother on the top, acting as the guardian, is turning the product over to the state. The state takes the live born record because she gives it to them through the hospital. The state then puts it on 32-pound watermark banknote paper, puts it in the public for the father to come and make a claim. Because it's only the mom now. Nobody comes and makes a claim. The child then becomes the property of the state from a quasi-legal position. It's weak, but it's not. It's very solid because the mom gave it up. The dad gave it up. And the state puts it in the public. Please make a claim. Nobody does. And that's a real hard pill for the legal analysis out there. But then you go and you look at the birth certificate and you look at where it's traded and you look at the fact that you've been assigned an employment ID number, and guess who is the collateral for that security? The living man. Look up the word identity, look up the word persona, look up these things right here in their law books. Okay, and it's kind of frightening when you look at the fact that now we're moving from a monetary system that is completely failed, completely rigged, and completely in favor of a few elite. And we're moving into a digital currency-based system, and they're trying to keep us from being able to use digital currencies. They're trying to make it illegal to own digital currencies. They've filed a lawsuit against one of the main digital currencies to try to make smoke and mirrors so that you don't buy it. As a matter of fact, that particular digital currency, XRP, Ripple is the company name, XRP, is only sold on a couple of exchanges in this nation, and they want you to think that it's a bad currency. Less than 1% of that currency is owned by you and me, people like us, and the rest is owned by the banks. Why? Because it's the single currency that's going to be the backing and have a ledger that all digital currencies throughout the world will process through. That currency is going to go from 50 cents in the next couple of weeks to whatever. And you know what? I'm going to be on Dancing Street. Raising the ceiling, baby.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
Well, no. Honestly, it all belongs to my father. That's what I believe, and it's one of those things I want to use to help people out and restructure our nation. And so, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. I might be doing it from a boat.
That might be the safest place.
Hey, safest place might be that island with a little strip in the middle of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people even get shocked when you bring up words like admiralty law, maritime law, stuff like that. They don't understand what that means. You know, the law of the land is the law of the water. When you start, again, I'm all about words. When you start breaking down words to people, asking them why are banks called banks, like river banks? Why is there currency like flowing water? These things aren't like accidental. These things, why you mentioned 32-pound watermark paper at least 2 or 3 times now. Why does it look like documents you would see for a boat or for a ship? Why is it called birth certificate, not born certificate? Ships are birthed, not people. All this stuff.
Well, and hold on, you just said something that's pretty righteous. I want to address, and guys, there's all kinds of weird stuff out there that could be a reach, and this could be a reach. I hear you. You have birth, BIRTH, and that is, believe it or not, a commercial term. You have birth, BERTH. Our certificates are literally put into admiralty, into international commerce on the Securities and Exchange Commission. So your birth by in admiralty law has a lot of, and by the way, there's 3 basic forms of law in this nation. There's more than that, but there's state, federal, and admiralty. Admiralty is by far the highest law on this land. And they look at it that way because of the waterways. the waterways come into the land. And it's going to sound silly, like you have water that comes out of your faucets and goes down your driveway and goes in a drain and goes into the sewer and then goes into the ocean. All of Admiralty is connecting all the way to your house. That's how they think, because that's what they say. And so the element of Admiralty law existing on this land is 100% absolute. It's been determined by the Supreme Court of the United States of America that the Admiralty law is the highest form of law in this land. So where do you think these guys where do you think they live? They live in Admiralty. How do you think they operate? They operate in Admiralty. How do you think they do commercial law, meaning deal with other vendors, deal with clients? In Admiralty. And so that's an excellent point. But going back to the actual like birth certificate and how you're being birthed by a dock, meaning a ship is birthed by a dock, a child is birthed by a dock, you know, through a canal. A woman has a canal. The ocean has a canal before you go into Admiralty, and then there's more. But the bottom line is that's not so far-fetched.
It's not at all. If we look at our country, our countries in general, our like original historic borders are the East Coast and the West Coast, which are bordered by water. East and west of the Mississippi was the other way that there's where part of our country was. So, and then south we have the Gulf of Mexico, and above us the Arctic Ocean over Canada. All this is
it's a flat Earth. Stop it.
Whether it's flat or not,
there's no East Coast, West Coast. It's all flat.
So what? Left coast, right coast?
Dude, do you know how many people believe that?
What? That it's flat?
I know somebody's going to take my little meme, that little 10 seconds that I just did about it being a flat Earth, and it's going to go wild. I hope so.
Why? Well,
what?
It's a whole other topic.
What?
It's a whole nother. I don't believe it's not round or flat. We thought it was flat for thousands of years. Some of the smartest people that we built a lot of our theories on.
And we got a beautiful globe painted, and that's what they show us all the time.
That's what they show us. Who's been out there? No one's seen it.
Hey man, I'm not arguing with you, Carmel. I'm
trying to help this meme that
I've jogged around the earth a couple times. I can end up in the same spot, you know. So I have pilot friends that have flown for and all around the world, and they will say it's not flat.
Why? What?
I don't know why. They say
what's them flying have anything to do with it?
We do. They take routes that would insinuate that it's not flat.
I'd love to know what route that is.
I don't know.
I'm saying you're flying in a circle. How do you know it's flat or not?
Hey, look, just because you saw a picture of the United Nations logo, you want to grab onto that and hold on to that as being a flat Earth theory, you know.
No one's.
I got to admit, that's pretty compelling, being that they always show us the truth, you know, in some plain sight thing. And here you go, it's flat Earth, but we're going to advertise the crap out of it that you're on a globe. Why? What is the purpose of it either being a globe or flat? To me, it means nothing.
It doesn't.
That's where I live.
Look,
dude,
they're talking about Artemis 2. Have you heard about Artemis 2?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be the second mission of taking actual people now. Because Artemis 1 was, they sent something that circumnavigated the moon, whatever, and back. And now they're going to do another one with people. Now, I've always said this about the original moon landing. And I've said this to you several times. Huge production to get us off this earth, but then to get back, all they ever show is this thing falling in the ocean out of the sky. I went and watched the Artemis 1 launch. Same thing. Cape Canaveral, wherever it's at, all this stuff, all these people, all these contraptions. It went up and just came back around and landed right in the ocean. Like how? I can drive in parts of this country and lose reception on my phone, but you're going to tell me this thing's going to get millions of miles away from this earth and we can still control it to come directly back into our atmosphere? we're going to land on the moon somehow or another and bring people right back when it took all this
Okay,
manpower
so
to get us off the Earth?
that's geometry. That's
There's
trigonometry
no
or
the
whatever
geometry
it
on the
is.
Earth. The geometry on the Earth is not the same as geometry out in space.
Look, Carmel, I'm not even sure there is a space anymore because I'm watching Buzz Aldrin talk about the fact they never went to the moon on every episode that he gets on. Like, why would Buzz Aldrin say we never went, we never went, we never went? You know, that doesn't make sense to me. It's like there's an argument of whether or not we went to the moon. I get it. NASA wants to make a lot of money. I get it. NASA, I have videos of NASA committing fraud. It's so obvious on these videos that they're not in space and they're all pretending to be in space. They're pretending to have conversations like I'm going, like, I'll say something to you and they'll sit there like this, wait for 8 seconds, and then the commentator will be all, as you know, it takes 8 seconds for an Earth voice to get out into the capsule, and then they will respond. So be patient, everybody. This conversation is going to take a little bit. And then somebody on Earth will say something that's funny, and the guy on the moon or in orbit goes, and then respond 8 seconds later. You know, it's stupid stuff like that. It's the strings behind them. It's the floating stuff. You can see the stuff in their eyes, the technology that they're using. I've had people explain the technology. I understand the technology a little bit, and it's like, why are you creating it? Well, it's money. It's funding.
It's funding. Exactly.
It's
And
funding.
then not only that, you can go and see all these terrain pictures they have of Mars. Someone went on Google and found
Talking
out
about
that
Death Valley?
no, it's like in Greenland, some part of Greenland. It's exactly identical, same terrain.
Really? Yeah, I just saw a Jesus movie, and it was filmed in Death Valley. And I'm like, I recognize those mountains.
So that's my thing. If I can make a movie like Gravity, Interstellar, Apollo, whatever, that looks like NASA,
Oh yeah, 100%.
why wouldn't NASA be able to do like? It's
100%.
the same thing. If I can make a movie,
So imagine if all this fraud came out later on. Like there is no space. You know, I once watched there's a committee of 300, and then there's a group of about 8,000 multi-millionaires that are known as the enforcement guys for the committee, the guys that rule the world. And if you don't know this, it's a kind of a known thing. I have not met them. I haven't been to their meetings. So I'm not giving you a firsthand account. I'm telling you what presidents have outed out of their own mouth in 100 years ago, 110 years ago, actually. But what I have seen is videos of some of the enforcement guys, one specifically that was dying, and he had cancer and he had a few weeks to live, and he wanted to out his guys, his handlers, because he hates their guts. Because what they do is they pull you in to work for them for the rest of your life because they have something on you. And they do that with everybody. And this guy was explaining Congress to the guy from the back of his head, and they never showed his face, but they were explaining Congress. He said, it's simple. Every single person in Congress is compromised within the first 3 or 4 months. Every single one. And if we can't compromise them, we set them up. And if we can't set them up, we kill a family member. Period. Meaning they run through a cycle of what they're going to try to get accomplished with every single person in Congress. So all these guys in Congress are supposedly compromised. And so I find it interesting, and if they can't kill that guy, they set you up to fall. But
have you seen the video of this guy at a press conference going through? He asks a question, he sets it up, he kind of sets the audience up with after I finish this, tell me, is this the NBA or is this the NFL? And he lists just all these rap sheets of just like crazy statistics on just like crime and
it's the United States Congress,
the Congress. And it's like when people hear that, I know they still feel weird. Like there's no way. They would much rather believe that NBA athletes or NFL athletes have done all this stuff versus their political figures that they have so much allegiance to. People are so happy to be a Democrat, to be a Republican, to be a liberal, to be a conservative, and they will die. And I'm just, liberals are this and conservatives are that. Like, you're not getting it. These people are completely leveraged and are playing you because they are put in a position where they have no more morals, their scruples are gone, and they're just pawns in a much bigger scheme. And telling people that the world is ran by, a small group of people, 30, maybe 30 or less, again, sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it really isn't. And we've seen tons of movies to suggest that. It's not
100%.
it's not much different than stuff, back in the days of Rome, back in the days of Constantine. It's the stuff is still the same. And if you look close enough, you'll see it. The problem is people don't want to look, and I get it. There's stuff going on. They'd rather watch American Idol. And look, I'm a big sports fan. I'm going to watch basketball, football as much as I can because I don't want to be talking about this stuff all day. I enjoy it, the entertainment of sports.
This is
This
a
stuff is real.
simple. Check this out, Carmel. This is a simple research list of American federal politicians convicted of crimes.
Wow.
Found it real quickly on Wikipedia. It goes all the way back to 1776, but when you scroll down, you can get down to today. Whatever. And obviously, we can't verify or validate this stuff. Former rep, 23 felonies. Steve Bannon found guilty. Remember that? Contempt of Congress trial. Judge formally dismisses Michael Flynn case after Trump pardon. And that's a whole nother thing, though, is pardons, brother. So you can look all this stuff up, guys, yourself, but there's hundreds and hundreds of convictions of active congressional leaders of the United States Congress, and it's kind of a scary thought. But even worse is who the presidents are pardoning. Like right before they leave office, hundreds of drug lords, drug defenders, just like the last deal we did for that wonderful WNBA transvestite. Is that the right word, Carmel? Because I don't want to offend anybody.
No, trans person.
Who was stupid enough to take marijuana into Russia.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And we traded a world's most scariest arms dealer for a WNBA player who broke the law in Russia. This is the administration that we're dealing with. It's one of the things I said yesterday on my show. People don't really understand that Biden has openly confessed to criminal activity in bribing the Ukrainian government to fire the district attorney that was going after his son, and that he would guarantee $1 billion loan through his vice presidency from the United States if they did that. And he says this openly. That's called a crime. It's called a felony to cover up, and use dollars from this country to loan to another nation who I'd love to find out if we ever got it back. And based on everything going into Ukraine right now, I don't think we've understand really what Ukraine is about. I think maybe Russia's going in there to try to find the evidence against the Biden family. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of people that think differently, but holy smokes, what's going on?
Right. So again, and that's fun. I'm glad you brought him up. But it seems like it'd be very interesting if any of these charges stick with Trump, because the guy in office now has done a lot of the same thing. So if there's now precedent, and then now this guy comes up, well, you have to get the same charges, right? And it's going to be a lot quicker case. If we got this guy charged, why wouldn't we get you? So I feel like Trump's not going to get arrested. Or he's not going to be charged with any of this stuff because they're going to have to let him go, because this dude in office has done the exact same stuff. Whether it's hidden documents at the house, using money to hush people up, using money incorrectly, tons of improprieties. I mean, his son and the stuff alone they've done is ridiculous. So if you're going to get Trump on these 34 trumped up charges, pun intended, you're definitely gonna get Biden on these, unless you don't. And then they both can get off, which again goes back to my point: whether you're Republican or Democrat, they don't care. It's not about you. There's a lot of other things in play here, but you feeling a certain way about it, and then you voting, and then now you're complicit because I told you, hey, here's what's going to happen, but we need the Americans to get behind this, so we can put this guy in jail, or we can push this agenda, or we can get, that thing you want. If you want it, you need to vote for this, and inside that freaking piece of legislation is a whole bunch of other stuff you didn't read about.
Yeah, and that's I think there's too much to fix it all, Carmel, and that's when I said this world is getting darker, and you took that personally, and you came up inside and welled up, and I could see the anger coming out, and you flipped it into this thing of well, no, I don't see it that way, and then you said I see it lighter, and then you made it a white black thing, and a racial thing, and
I didn't make it racial.
Very offensive, and how the light was exposing the darkness or the bringing out the evil, and I'm just messing, dude. But in all seriousness, what is your opinion on this world being recoverable? Because I'll take it to a biblical thing, but what is your opinion of that?
I think because I'm saying it's becoming lighter, you're now becoming aware of what's possible.
Most people are.
You didn't know, if you didn't know, you'd be in the dark, right? If you didn't know, that's darkness when I don't know what's going on. But then I show you, I hold my card. Here's what I'm going to do. Now you can actually make an informed decision or choice. The issue is there's light pollution in this world. There's so much to look at. You're not paying attention to the thing that's really important. So how do you recover it? I mean, maybe you don't. And also, I always want to think again that it's not all evil, because if this person's evil and this agenda is evil and that person's evil and everything's falling apart, yeah, what's the point? I don't believe that that's the case. I believe there's probably an equal amount of good. We're just not looking for it. And what people tend to talk about is the bad stuff. Like as a comedian, if I'm at a show and 100 people are in this audience and 99 people are laughing, what am I going to notice? The one that's not.
Right.
That's our nature. We look at the negative. We look at the thing that's bothering. Versus being concerned or more excited or focus our intention on the positives, on doing good. The biggest thing in our world is intent. If we could intentionally put our energy and mind and vibes towards positivity, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Why can't I tap into the same energy someone's negatively using to benefit for me to benefit?
I actually agree with that. The focus element of where you need to be and in a proper mindset, especially in dealing with the world the way that it is, and seeing the good that is going on in the world. It's sad that we're sitting in a place where it's really hard for people to see, and it's going to be even harder for people to see, because there's a cleansing that's about to happen, and there's a changing of the guard in many different respects, and there's a lot of technology driven guys that are going to be very wealthy and very much more powerful than the existing oligarchy, because maybe they were too old to put into anything other than real estate, like some of the power brokers out there. So who knows? I think we have to always be in that mindset of where we should be living in a state of seeing the good in everything, in a state of grace, in a state of thanking. I always thank God personally for everything that I have, and that state of grace is important for that state of gratitude. Excuse me, is important for me to stay in, because I believe there's a lot that comes from that. I believe there's a lot that just the the element of when you look at disease and you look at stress, and stress is causing it, and that's really why we want to be healthy in our minds over the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, the card on the Illuminati's deck that has not been played yet, I'm going to throw this out, and I talk about it very casually because I don't want to look like I'm insane. But we now have China talking about today how they shot a UFO out of the sky. We now today have the United States military acknowledging UFOs. We now today have Russia acknowledging UFOs. The one card that hasn't been played on the Illuminati deck that was developed in the 70s, and this has been a plan supposedly, and if you look at people that have exposed this, government agents that have exposed this and come into the public regarding Osama bin Laden, regarding things that he was going to do before he ever supposedly did them. What's that Pale Horse book? Oh, what's that guy's name? I'm blanking. Somebody help me out. Post it.
Behold the Pale Horse?
Behold the Pale Horse, yeah. I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but the card that hasn't been played is a fake alien invasion.
Milton William Cooper?
Yeah, that's the guy. In 1981, I think the book was written. He predicted a week before Osama bin Laden was going to be a fall guy that was going to be used by the government to bring down the Twin Towers, a major event in New York. He predicted it several days before. He was right on about a lot of stuff. And he was supposedly killed within 2 weeks from that point. The point I'm trying to make is, what would the response be? You have a Bible that says there's going to be such an event that men's hearts will fail. I got to tell you something. I have ARs. I have a lot of firepower. What are you going to do when you see a 9-footer running down the street? Or 1,000 of them. What the heck? I want to get all my water cups around my desk full. If anybody knows that movie, it was Mel Gibson's movie. It wasn't Mel. It was.
It was Mel Gibson.
Well, he was in it, but it was
Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, what was the director's name? Yeah, Shyamalan. That was a great movie. Scared the crap out of me.
It was really good.
It was good. Swing away, baby.
Signs and War of the Worlds are two of the best alien movies I've ever seen.
Dude, let's have a popcorn party at my house and just watch alien movies all day.
I'm down. I am 100% down, because especially again with the vision of now versus just being like a kid, or
we could just film us all day and then just take excerpts from it.
I bet you we would learn a lot. Like, exactly. They're showing us this. They're showing us that.
Right.
Look, if it truly was aliens and not our government or the powers that be faking it and then taking us out with whatever, and it's all holographic, it was real aliens, I'll be down. They gotta be better than the people we got down here. And if you're gonna kill me, I'm out. Just start over. I told this to my mom the other day. Like, if you get to the point where you're that depressed and you just don't want to be here anymore, start over. Whatever. You're gonna come back anyway.
So
what's there to be afraid of? Because, like, again, if you are a Bible believer, right? If you are a Christian and you believe the word of God written by whoever, you're supposed to win.
For me,
so we do win, and I think no matter what, good will win. Good will prevail. God will prevail. I don't think personally, I don't think we went from the goo to the zoo to you or me. I think it's odd that many of the things that are talked about within the Word of God are coming true today, and that's a whole nother topic. But we should have that topic, because I think that's going to be directly relational to our faith, you know, and getting that out, because a lot of people out there, you know, I think the church is being misled. I think in large part, I'm not trying to put down the church. I think they're being misled. They're being led to a slaughter. And I'm not talking spiritual slaughter. I'm talking about a literal slaughter. There's many major church organizations right now, Carmel, that are working directly with FEMA camps and FEMA directly, that when you have an emergency, I need you to bring your congregation into FEMA camps for support and help, instead of being the government or the church operation that they should be, which is the seat of government. The church should be the government. The church should be operating in a form where they're helping the widows, the orphans, and everybody, you know what I mean? And instead of pushing them on to, because that's a part of it. You know, that's one of the things I've talked about that really bugs me, is the tithing element. Not that it's not supposed to be, listen to me, pastors, not that it's not supposed to be, but when you're asking for a tithe from somebody and you point out in scripture, the funniest thing is you don't ever bring up anything in the Old Testament except tithing. Everything was satisfied on the cross except for tithing. Number one, that's a problem. Number two, tithing back in the day was for the fact that the Levites represented 1/12 of all of a nation. That was 200,000, 400,000 people at that time. So 400,000 people needed to eat, because that 10% from the first fruits of the rest of the nation were going to go to the Levites, and the Levites were the government. The Levites took care of the elderly, took care of the widows, took care of the orphans, took care of everybody. So if you're going to ask for 10%, hire 10% of your congregation on staff and help all of the widows and all of the orphans and all of the homeless that come into your front door, and don't give them a pamphlet telling them to go get government services. So now that we have contracts with churches, between FEMA camps and churches, I have a problem with that.
Well, the government is the Vatican. So in a way, the church is the government. It's not the government.
Dude,
or
why
church.
do you always got to flip it like that?
I'm telling you, because what's going down.
The government is the Vatican. No.
Yes.
No.
Our world is ruled by
The
three
corporations are supposedly, and I have not tracked this down myself, all fall under the Vatican. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
That's what they're going to tell you at the ultimate part of it, is that you're right, Kelby. The church should be the government, and guess what? It is. All your birth certificates, all the stuff it's
I
all
hear you.
under our
jurisdiction. I hear you.
Are they gonna give us any of that money? Are they gonna give us all that land the Vatican has? Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
No.
But here's another thing the church won't do.
The Vatican barricaded itself into its own little district in the world, its own little country.
Exactly. Now here's the thing. We talked about aliens, and I want to tap on this real quick, because the church won't talk about aliens the way we do. But like, whether it's lizard people, reptilian, whatever, and I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've been on this show, but the phrase Anunnaki has always been a very weird term to me, and you'll never hear it in church, ever. Mm-hmm. But it's in the Bible. Did you know that?
No.
Well, right now, I want you to do this on air. Go to Blue Letter Bible and go to Genesis 15, verse 1. Now, I need you to go online. You're not going to see it in there. That's what I'm telling you. Don't look in there.
You need me to go online?
I need you to see the Greek concordance and the.
Wait a minute. You were. Well, you need. I got the Greek right here.
Okay, go to Genesis 15, verse 1, and look at the concordance in there. It's going to be in Hebrew, not in Greek.
Yeah, obviously Genesis. Oh, dude, I need a mic. Here we go.
Oh yeah, you don't got the eye for it.
You got the eye for it. You're all talking smack, and here I am pulling out the big old.
I want to see if people can see this or not.
Well, this doesn't have a light on it, but let me go for it anyway. Genesis 15:1. You need me to read the Hebrew?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to read Hebrew, bro. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, I'm going to direct you to a very specific part of that.
Okay, I'm here.
It's where they say I am. We know what the phrase I am
Okay,
means,
hold on,
right?
hold on. I'm at Genesis 15:1. I'm going to read it. This is in Abraham to Jehovah. The was these things. After will your to a am I. Abraham, do not saying increase reward you shield. And to you will what Jehovah the Lord Abraham said. And remember something. Remember, I'm not reading a normal text with the pronouns and everything that goes in between it. This is just straight from the Hebrew.
Okay. Oh, but in English.
But in English. Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know how to read Hebrew.
Well, I want. Can I just share my screen then? You want me to do that?
I don't know how. Do you see a share screen button down on the bottom?
It just says present.
Well, present then. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Try to present now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Select window screen. Here we go.
There you go.
All right. Do you see this?
Adding. Go ahead.
All right. Perfect. Can you see this right here?
Kind of. It's a little bit small. Let me open up. Hold on. Karma, I love when you do this kind of stuff because
I'm telling you, because
we're exposing secrets of the Illuminati.
It's exactly what this is for me, because I was reading this verse, not looking for this.
All right.
And I went to where it says I am, and I was looking up the I am phrase, because we had this discussion about who God is and Elohim. This is the one of, and this is all through the Bible now. Do you see this word right here?
Kinda.
I have never seen this connected to the Anunnaki.
Hold on. Let me look that up.
I have never seen that ever connected to I am.
Copy and put it on a text so it's bigger so people can see it.
How can I do that?
And that's in number 1 of 15 in the first verse.
1, chapter 15. And it's all through, I mean, there's several other like instances of that's the one I found.
Yeah, this doesn't say Anunnaki anywhere.
Interesting.
Hold on. It's that. Okay, I see it. Hold on. Oh, it says the I am.
The I am.
I went to there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the 1, 2. I can't tell. It's about the 10th word in Hebrew in. And that particular one means I am in this translation. And there it says Anunnaki.
So if I tell you the Anunnaki is the I am, and I am is Elohim, which means multiple gods.
Okay, but hold on a second, Karma.
I'm just asking.
You ripped me on LeBron James.
How we getting back to
hold on. You ripped me on LeBron James about finding what I found on the internet.
No.
That's internet.
I said TikTok.
Okay, and YouTube. Internet.
And YouTube, right?
And YouTube. So what I found is a ritual. We're not going to talk about it. We'll do another show.
Another show.
That before every game, LeBron James does this little thing. He does a prayer and he goes like this with his hands, and then he goes like this, and then he goes like this or something. And he's doing a prayer before a game, and I correlated that to 666, meaning 666. And I went to a couple websites to show you some things, and you were laughing out loud like it's lame.
It's 100% lame.
I said, go check out my video. I've done a little bit of research on this. I'm a big boy. I've pretty much everybody in Hollywood's doing these symbols, and it's just something to consider. That's it. But now, Carmel, you're reaching on the internet. Anunnaki. That
is not the internet. That is the Bible, and you have it in your book as well.
Well, hold on. I just looked. It's not here. It's not here.
You just said you went and found it.
No, what it says is I am or am I. It doesn't say Anunnaki.
It didn't have the Hebrew. The Hebrew word is not in there.
The Hebrew word is in there, but it's translating it as am I.
That's what I'm saying. But the Hebrew word Anunnaki or Enoki is in there?
The same one that you showed on your screen is, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let me get another translator. Hold on. Let me see what the concordance says. Genesis 15:1. This will piss me off if it says what you say it says.
Why are you getting pissed off?
Okay, Genesis 15:1. After these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abraham in a vision, saying, "You must not be fearing, Abraham. I am your shield, your exceedingly increased reward." So it says, "I am." It actually says, "I." The word "am" is not in there. Let me look at the Strongs for the Hebrew. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. We're here.
What?
We're here.
Yeah, we're not wasting any time, are we? Don't worry, we'll go to the movies later. I got to keep these people happy, man.
Is your boy still sleeping over there?
Dude, we got cheap seats sounding off over there. He's like upset.
About what?
Why am I here? You're doing your show.
It's a riveting episode, man. What are you talking about? It's getting the front.
Is this a riveting episode?
I think it's riveting.
I think it could be riveting. Okay, so I don't know how to look up it from the reverse. I know how to look it up from the English, but how do I look it up from? What is the Strong's number on that screen?
It was H595, I think.
H595. Of course, it's not in order.
What is Hebrew written right to left like Arabic is? A lot of the older languages.
Yeah, it's right to left. So you'd have to. All right, so okay, so it's the English that is in order. So I need to go to I.
Yes,
Or maybe I need to
H5.
go to A. Maybe I need to go to Anunnaki. Hey, let's try that. Go AN. Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna have to look that one up later.
It's Strong's H595 when you get a chance. But anyways, I showed you. You go find it later in one of your books.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
But the point I was trying to make is no pastor would ever dare explain the fact that word is in the Bible. You mention Anunnaki or Anoki or any.
Is it spelled identical, bro?
Of course not. It's two different languages. We're talking about English to Hebrew. It's not going to be spelled the same. But it's obviously the same word.
So your point is?
The pastors are not going to talk about that stuff. They're going to keep it very plain and neutral.
So your point is that a alien race or alien gods called Anunnaki are listed within the Bible. That's your point?
Yeah.
And that they are talking to us as God.
Could be. Depending on what interpretation you want to look at. I mean, we're talking about angels came down and had sex with men and women and created, some weird race of people that died off in a flood. Was that really too far-fetched?
Brother, you can't surprise me with anything with the Bible.
That's what I'm saying. But no pastor is going to talk about that. The pastor is just going to talk about.
There's a IG account of a guy that he constantly is talking about Tartaria and the flood and giants. And I know that the giants existed, and we found giants all over. And every time somebody finds a giant buried somewhere, the Smithsonian Institute comes and picks it up like that. But my question to you, Carmel, is that's actually in the Bible, and that's actually something that is a historical fact of the Word of God, that giants existed. And some of these giants are to be listed at up to 30 feet, 40 feet. Back in the day, they show, and I've done Photoshop work pretty much my whole adult life for my own companies, and I know what blurs look like. I know what something that's photoshopped, and or where you take a small skull and enlarge it in comparison to the man standing next to it with his hand on the skull. You can pretty much easily tell what's real and what's fake. And what they always do is they'll show real images within fake images, and then they'll say all of them are fake. And but no, there's some pretty interesting. I've done a lot of study on this, but the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, the sons of God, according to the Bible, came down into the daughters of men, and out of them were born the Nephilim, the giants. And then God corrected the record with Noah's Ark, and Noah's Ark has been discovered. Again, the Ark was founded on the mountains of Ararat. And I'm not trying to do a Bible study here. I'm just telling people. It's interesting. And so your point is, bringing up Anunnaki, is there's some translation out there, and this is one of the things that I've contended with and I have an issue with is we read something, we don't know what the original text was, but there's actually somebody that says it. This says different. This says different. All of my Bibles say different, but you're pointing out one that says it's Anunnaki.
Yeah. I mean, that's the concordance of, Strong's concordance and translation. But that's the thing, is when we do translations of ancient languages using modern languages, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. You can't take English and then go back and look at Hebrew or Aramaic or any of these old languages and then try to come up with the same language. Now I can twist things around because I can say, oh, well, there's no real translation for that phrase or word or term. Yeah. And now you miss completely what it was actually saying. Because, and I mentioned this to you before, when we talk about amen, and I've asked a bunch of people, what does the word amen mean? And you get, oh, it means so be it. Well, then why not just say that? Why are you speaking in English all of a sudden in the last word of this prayer? You say a completely different word. Why not just say so be it? And it doesn't mean so be it. But the thing is, you're taught that. So much stuff in the church, we're taught to believe or say or feel a certain phrase or word to mean this one thing. In that ancient language, it didn't mean that. And the context has changed. You're talking about aliens, or giants. There's evidently structures that people believe are aliens or giants. Like, there's a YouTube page called Mud Fossil University. I don't know if you heard about it, but he's got tons of video where he breaks down huge statues that can't be, like, there's no way someone crafted or carved these statues, that they're actually giants that just fossilized or froze or whatever, because there's no way a person could have got up and carved fingers and hands and elbows of this size into a rock. So now, when those things are going to wake up in the next 10 to 20 years due to some stuff we end up doing to them, I don't know. But I definitely know the church is not going to talk about it like that. The church is not going to give us information at all, because they haven't been given it. They've only been taught what they learned in seminary. They guarantee you no pastor at any seminary college was talking about Genesis 15:1 and Anunnaki.
So I got to look into that, bro. I got to look into it. I'm doing something kind of cool. Watch. Cam, here we go. You're going to laugh.
Okay, my friends, Earth is in trouble. There's no question
Weird.
about it. We have a major conference going on. All the world countries are saying we're all in trouble. It's not just one, it's all of us. And some of the poorer countries are just absolutely desperate right now. And I think I have a solution. They say if we can do this, what we just did right here, we could create free energy.
So loud, I was hoping to catch him. I was going to catch him. No, Kelby Cam didn't work.
Oh, that's cool. I like that, though.
Hey, just know, brother. You snore again, you're going on Kelby Cam.
Kelby Cam. we got
Guaranteed he will not go to sleep now.
No, right?
He won't even ever be in the. He won't ever come in this room again.
So he'll get outside. But yeah, at some point we need to do an episode where we talk about like this page I just sent you, Mud Fossil University, where he goes in depth about statues and mountains being like giants. Because if you look at some mountains, they're shaped very interestingly. They don't.
What about tree stumps that look like they could have been 10 miles tall?
Yeah. See a lot of those in Arizona and in parts
There's
of
so
Nevada.
many things, Carmel, that just they're not explained in the church or government. They don't want to help us understand that, church wants us to believe that the and I'm not saying they're right, wrong, or indifferent. I just, and I don't even like using the word science anymore.
I'll say they're wrong.
But I know you will. But the bottom line is, it's like you look at to me, it seems like there were civilizations, and the Word of God kind of almost substantiates that there were civilizations prior to Adam and Eve. And people ask, well, what? It's when Cain killed his brother Abel and he was banished, and he said, you can't send me out there, for they will kill me. Who's they? And everybody wants to say it's his cousins, and they had thousands of cousins and thousands of kids because he lived a 9. Well, why is his own family going to kill him then? None of that stuff makes sense. So Cain was actually scared of somebody else killing him if he was going to be banished. The point I'm trying to make is the age of the world, the different things that we're starting to find throughout the world, and it can't be staged. It can't be like, it's interesting to say the least. Hey, post what 1 Timothy 6:20 is. Anyway, Carmel, let's go.
All right,
let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
Thank you, guys. What are we going to talk about on Saturday? Do we have it planned out?
I don't know. Well, we're supposed to talk about the women's national title game. Maybe we can do that Saturday.
You talking about guys that are girls?
They're girls. They're regular old women that play.
They're regular girls.
They're regular girls.
And what is this about?
Oh, You Can't See Me, the John Cena. Yeah, it might not be what we're talking about by then, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right, man. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you for showing up. We'll see you next Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific.
That'll be good.
Later, Carmel.